Okay, so we are making this little house with our tools. And you can see that I've added some details to it. So the first thing is you need a drawing board. This is a drawing board. They are in front of the classroom. And there's these lines already drawn on there for you by someone in the past. And you are going to get a piece of blank paper. And you're going to line it up perfectly with the top line. This is like the most crucial step because if you line it up crooked, every single thing you draw will be crooked. And then you're going to take some tape and you're going to tape it down on the four corners. Maybe. So I would tape the bottom first because that's what's on the line. If you want to get a buddy to help you get it actually like still and not crooked, then that's not a bad idea. And then get your top corners. Ooh, where's my head? Okay, so it is taped down. It is nice and neat. So the first tool that we're going to use is our T-square. So a T-square is very important. It has this like lip. It's not just flat. You can see that it's like got some thickness right here. So this part is so that it can butt up against the side of your T-square. So you have to be on a whole surface in order for this to work out correctly. You can't do it in your lap. You can't do it like with the T-square hung off the side. You have to have the whole thing on a surface so that this, you put it down flat here. And then like right now, there's a little gap. Of course, I used a black table. But butt it up against the edge. And then that makes this a perfectly horizontal line parallel to the bottom and to the top. You can also use it vertically the same way. It's butted up against the edge. And then it can make a perfectly vertical line anywhere on this paper that we want it to be. Okay. So what we are first going to do, make sure that this drawing board is all the way on the table. It is nice and flat. And our T-square is on it. It's not hanging off the edge of the paper somewhere. It needs to be all the way on the table. And you're going to constantly check the butt. I'm going to say that. Check the butt. Make sure it's butted up against the side of the board. And we're going to move the top of it down to just so that about the bottom is around the bottom of the paper. And that's just like an estimate. This is not a specific measurement. And using a mechanical pencil, do not use a pen because there will be things you have to erase a little bit. You are going to draw a line all the way across the paper like that. Look how perfectly straight and how parallel to the edge of the paper that is. So I got to get into position. Okay, so now I'm going to put my T-square back into place. Check the butt. It is butted up all the way to the edge. You can't see it. And using your scale, I want you to find your quarter inch scale. You're going to put it down on your paper so that the 1/4 inch side is touching the paper. So there's 1/4 inch. It is touching the paper. And make sure your T-square is butted up, and you are going to pull this scale to the T-square and shift it so that the 0, I know you probably can't see the 0, I'm sorry. Put the 0 on the right edge of the paper. Still can't hardly see it. Yeah, I'm trying, I'm sorry. But the 0 is on the right edge of the paper and it is the 1/4 inch scale. Okay, then we are going to, let me see if I can make my name go away. Okay, so then you are going to make sure it's butted up on the left, make sure this scale is butted up against your T-square, and I'm holding it kind of like with everything. Like hold your T-square with your thumb, hold your scale with your other fingers. I've got the palm of my hand down on the table. Everything is just like nice and tight. Use it like a claw. And I'm going to go over to the 10 mark and place my pencil on 10. And I'm going to draw from 10 to 30. 10 to 30. So that is a 20-foot line because 10 to 30 is 20 feet. So we have a nice, pretty line. This is going to be like the foundation of your house. Then you're going to take one of your triangles. It does not matter which one. This is my 30, 60, 90. And first, I'm going to, again, make sure my T-square is butted up. It doesn't really matter like where, up and down wise. We're just trying to have it butted up against the left edge of the board so that it is parallel to everything we've been working with. Then we can put the bottom side of the triangle up against the T-square, slide it over to the little edge of that line you drew and the first line you drew. So this makes us be able to draw a perfectly vertical line. So I'm going to draw a vertical line from the first line we drew up to about, I'm just eyeballing it. So this is maybe like 2/3 of the way up the paper. Okay. So a line from that first line up about 2/3 of the way up the paper. And then I'm going to take this triangle and I'm going to flip it over like the page of a book. I'm going to do the same thing on the left end of that line. So I'm butting it up against the left edge of the line. The bottom is butted up against the T-square. The T-square is butted up to the side of the drawing board. And I'm going to draw another vertical line. And I'm just eyeballing it to about the same height as this. So if you wanted to check that, oops, supposed to come all the way down to the ground. My bad. I did. All right, so if you wanted to check if these are the same height, you could just slide your T-square up to whichever one comes first. And I see that this left side is slightly taller than this right side. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that and erase off what wasn't equal to the right side. Okay, so we're seeing part of a house. Down here, you could put some bricks if you wanted to get the burnishing template and do that, or you could use your T-square to draw like some lines for bricks. I could come back with the verticalness in a little bit. So the next part is to put on the roof of the house. It doesn't really matter which triangle you use. I like the 45-degree triangle and the 90-degree triangle. And I'm making sure my T-square is butted up to the left side of my board. I'm going to pull my triangle in and butt it up to my T-square. And I'm going to slide it over until it touches this angled side, should touch the tippy tip of that vertical line we drew. So I'm just going to slide it over till it touches the tip. And I'm going to draw, I'm eyeballing roughly the middle down just past that tip a little bit. So this is like the center top of your house and the little overhang of your house. So then I'm going to take my triangle and do the book page flip it over, make sure the T-square is butted, triangle's butted up to the T-square, diagonal edge is lined up with that vertical line, and I'm going to do the same amount of overhang up to where I think the middle is. And remove. And it looks like I got a little gap right there where I misjudged the middle. And so I can put my triangle back and fill that in very easily. Don't freehand it, please. When you're using these tools, they are so crisp and clean that there is no room for freehand because you can tell. Okay, so I fixed that little bit. Or if you did the opposite and you like overdrew and you have a crisscross there, just erase it off. So we have the basic shape of a house. And now you can use your tools to do various things. You need to have a door. You need to have at least one window. You can have a chimney. You can have trim. If you want to finish off this foundation, you can. So it's going to go something like this. I'm going to use you can do yours in any order you want. You do not have to match me perfectly. So I'm going to use my triangle to make my vertical sides of my door. And then I'm going to put one big window here. Top of the window should be even with the top of the door. I'm eyeballing this right now, and I will erase off stuff at the end because that's how I work. That's up to you if that's the order you want to work in. So there's all my little vertical lines that I might need. Then I'm going to use my T-square to draw the bottom of the window, the middle of the window, the top of the window, and the top of the door. So that quickly, I just got all these straight lines, all because this T-square, the triangle, and the edge of the drawing board were all in perfect alignment. Then I can continue. I can use my tools to make trim around stuff very quickly. I'm just eyeballing the size. Got a little over right there. It's okay to erase. That's why I didn't do it in pen. And then I can use my triangles to draw the verticals. You can also just flip your T-square around to go top to bottom instead if you have the space wherever you're working. If you don't have the space, then don't chance it because you can't have it hang off the edge. It won't end up straight. It has to be always butted up against an edge. Required. So there's like my door and my window. I could put a little fancy pants doorknob if I wanted to. Little curvy thing going on. I did freehand that. Forgive me. It's okay. You could do like make your roof look a little more 3D-ish with an extra line. Always check the butt. Make sure we're not getting crooked. Okay. Use my T-square to make a little vertical on the bottoms of this fascia. That's what this is called. So we're getting a little door. Ideally, we would need to make. You can make some steps if you know how to do that. I'm not going to do all that. Let's see. Do I want a little chimney going on? Maybe that's what I have in my example. So maybe we got a little chimney happening. This is a flat drawing. Doesn't have depth to it. Could add bricks onto this chimney if we wanted to, or stones. You could use the burnishing templates if you wanted to freehand something like stones. I think that's fine, but burnishing templates look better because it just follows in with like the style of these drawings to have everything done with like an aid, a drawing aid. That's what everything we're using is, a drawing aid. And then I can take in my triangle and do some verticals. So maybe I go like every third one. And then scooch over. Don't have room there. Gotta do that one. That one. You see how it's supposed to go. So we've got like some little bricks happening. Easy peasy. If you wanted to add some like bushes and whatnot, freehand, you could do that. But this is what you should turn out with. A little house using all your tools.